What'll you have? Pabst Blue Ribbon.
What'll you have?
Pabst Blue Ribbon. What'll you have? Pabst Blue Ribbon. Pabst Blue Ribbon beer.
Smoother, smoother, smoother flavors, zest and sparkle, millions favor.
It's football time. Welcome to Pabst Interview, Blue Ribbons, Red Zones. I am KO, Kyle Olson, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, our commish, Chad. No guest again this week. That's okay. We had one lined up. Probably going to happen in the future. We're not going to give chips, but Chad, welcome to the show. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, there's a reason Chad rhymes with dad. Because I'm the daddy of this league.
Oh, no.
Oh, the one loss from KO last week, I had to take my beatings. Had to take the lashing in the group chat for the rebrand, for the trade, but I don't know. 60-point win kind of puts an exclamation point, kind of puts a punctuation on that shit. You know, Yak and Cheese coming after me at 1-3. You weren't really looking for a win anyways, but you weren't looking for that beating that you took. If I would have played a different quarterback, either of my other two, I'd have drop two bills, but we'll sit clean at 187-84. Another person who actually put a walloping, Elvon, Team Angry Blackman with 153 points, 40 points over Show Me Them TDs. You ain't ever seeing no TDs or TTs at 2 and 3, so don't even start with me. Teal the Love squeaked one out, 10-point win over Kai Rimjob. That dirty Rimjob is getting sloppier and sloppier by the week. Started out so strong, looking like could have been one of the boys, but it is not looking great. But Teal the Love evens things up with Kai Rimjob at 2 and 3. Vintage Semi Reserve, absolutely no shot. Was looking at 102, ended at 109, but he drops to 0-5. Jay Jettas drops 150 on his head. And then the absolute squeaker could not have been much closer. 4 points. The dirty Whitefish Bay Rats were able to squeak one out over KO's keepers. Browning apparently didn't. He looked great, but didn't look good enough. They brought in Flacco. You and Fields were laced up there. McCaffrey absolutely blew Henderson's doors off. Kamara to Genti blew his doors off. But then when we get into the wide receivers, Puka over Allen, Jamar Chase over Diggs, even with that Randy Moss, Tom Brady style with Drake. Kelsey goes for a vintage showing at 19 points. Waddle for 23. And then even he gets a little squeaker out of A.J. Brown there in his flex. Takes you by 4 points, man. That's kind of a bummer. Drops you to 3 and 2. Festival Has Rats joins myself and the Angry Black Man, none other than the Alizé Sippin' Elvon, to 4 and 1.
Only thing I have to say, Drews, again, hell of a matchup. Great week. Only thing I can take solace in is I could not have made any other moves. Like, I started my best lineup. Trey McBride put out a stinker. That's probably what did me in. Brian Thomas Jr. hasn't stepped up yet. That's still on me for having him as my, wide receiver 3 right now. Hampton's going to the IR, so that's going to be hard to overcome. Still got Genti and CMC to lock into those running back spots. I'm just looking towards, obviously, this week, Jay. Come on, man. Jay.
Hold on. Before we look ahead, I want to make sure everyone takes a minute to appreciate and respect the work put in. The grind over the last few years. Everyone said he mortgaged his future. Well, a first, second, and third, and next year and 2 firsts the following year. Doesn't look like I gave everything up, but it looks like I got everything. Jaden Daniels, the worst of my 3 quarterbacks at 20 points. Phenomenal. I got Pookie, Javonte Williams for 27. Taylor, thanks, Drews, 32 points. I'm sure that 9.5 that Kamara put up for you was awesome. Amon-Ra, who I also was able to pull from Drews, my most talented wide receiver, perchance, scored the least of my wide receivers at 18 because my boy, Ninjigba's in Paris, 27 points. And like I said before, we were talking about this ahead. At pick number 5, I had this plan for an eternity sitting on that pick. The only thing that was going to change it is if I was able to get that 1-1 or 1-2 out of you. But Egbuka was locked in for that pick, and I'm taking that to the bank every day. My Ohio State boys, I'm going to ride them to the championship. I'm telling you that right now. 31 points, 7 of 7, 163, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. And sleeping on Michael Pittman now with Indiana Jones, I will take him for 12 to 15 points every week. But I will tell you, even in all the chaos of a 60-point win, I'm going to take this as the number one to show all of you why I'm your commish, why I'm the chatty daddy. I work the waivers. Waiver wire pickup, best quarterback this week. Waiver wire pickup, backup at Arizona, 18 points, sat firmly on my bench, still won by 60. And then retired for 2 years, a terrible, terrible rap track, and fumbling the bag with Kelsey Plum. That's okay. Saddle up for a projected 7.4 points. Darren Waller for 18 3/4 in my tight end slot with Brock Bowers. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Brock Bowers was out. Oh my God. And Kyle Pitts is sitting on my bench. This is a fucking freight train. Get out of the way. I feel bad for whoever's lining up against me going ahead. I will wager it all.
I'm not scared in the slightest. I beat you once, I'll beat you again.
Yeah, we'll see. But while it's a bummer to see my Seahawks go down by a field goal at the end of the game, the best showing by two quarterbacks, yards and completion percentage ever in NFL history, with the number 1 and number 3 draft pick from the 2018 draft with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Love to see those guys getting their redemption arc. Love to see the royal blue throwback Seattle jerseys, the creamsicle Tampa Bay. Should have been flexed to Sunday night. We still got an absolute banger at Sunday night. But coming out of that with 60 points between Egbuka and JSN, watching that game go up and up and up and up and up, and the shootout, and just knowing that every time ESPN alerts went off, points, it takes the sting off a little bit, losing at the end of the game by a field goal.
Yeah, and it was a wild week. That game was incredible. It lived up to the hype because of the jerseys, which are just, both of those teams need to think about incorporating that in just the regular rotation. I know the Bucks have already won those twice this year, but also talking about our teams, let's talk about the Packers. We now get to play Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Packers had a bye week, so that was good. My Jacksonville Jaguars took care of business on Monday night. Trevor Lawrence with one of the most Trevor Lawrence games I've ever watched, even with the Chiefs cheating with the officials. Trevor Lawrence still got it done. Other big games, Patriots knocking off the Bills on Sunday night, which was an awesome game for anyone who stayed up to watch what a lot of people thought was not going to be a very good matchup. Chargers dropping another one, this time to the Commanders. Chargers look like they are in trouble, losing their starting running back Hampton. They still have some O-line issues. Nick Alt should be back in like a week or two, but they just also made a big trade for another defensive piece, but that is not where they are struggling.
When it comes to Commanders, it's crazy to think, you know that Bobby Wagner, this is supposed to be the tail end of his career. He is second in solo tackles this year, only 2 behind the leader. Bobby Wagner with the Commanders. I'll give a shout out. Amazing piece for Seattle for so many years, and now he goes out there and finds success somewhere else. Good for you. Just get it, boy. Get it.
He's an absolute stud. I've always loved Bobby Wagner, even when he was on the Sea Chickens. The Lions beat up Jake Brown, and like you mentioned, don't give me that look. Jake Brown, and like you mentioned, looked okay, but not good enough. The Bengals go and trade for Joe Flacco so that they can maybe salvage their season. They put a guy who could barely move in the pocket to a guy who can't move in the pocket. With that offensive line, I would love to, in any other league that you're playing out there, stream the defense against the Bengals because there will be sacks aplenty to be had there. But the Lions, unlike week one, looking like the team that they were. Cardinals, Cardinals need to, I think, just completely redo everything, fire all the coaches. I think they need to move on from Kyler. You need to build around Marv because losing that game to the Titans after you were up, I believe, 21-0, and then DeMarcado fumbles. I mean, yeah, that was just awful. And the Titans, even after that win, I still don't see the Titans as any better. I think they're a pile of trash right now too. They just got handed a win. Panthers somehow come away with a win in a thrilling game against the Dolphins. I remember watching that on Sunday. That was a fun one. Two really bad teams putting up a good performance against each other. I think promising for both teams, but I don't see a lot of success in either one of their futures. Colts absolutely boat racing the Raiders. The Raiders are who we think they are, and the Colts are starting to look like an actual contender. Who would have thought Colts and Jaguars 4-1 atop the AFC right now? Wild. Saints actually pull off Kellen Moore's first win as a head coach against the Giants. Jackson Dart not looking great, but Spencer Rattler starting to come into his own with Chris Olave. And Kendre Miller all of a sudden coming out of nowhere. I love this from the Saints. They get their first win. Giants still have a lot of things to do. Jackson Dart needs to learn how to take care of the football. The ball is the program. The Ravens. Do the Ravens know that it's week 6? Do the Ravens know that the season started? Because holy shit. I mean, I know they didn't have Lamar again this week, but they are not looking good. I know they have a lot of injuries, but even the guys that are out there are not playing well. Harbaugh needs to figure something out. The Texans actually looked like a competent football team for the first time this season, putting up 44 points. I still don't expect a lot from Houston in what has turned out to be a tough AFC South, but they look good against the Ravens. Again, stream your offensive players against the Ravens because their defense looks awful. They did last year until week 10. For some reason, they turned around week 10 last year, so potentially look out for that. The Broncos pulling up a big upset against the Eagles. I don't think a lot of people had this picked. I thought the Eagles were going to dominate this game at least by 2 scores. But the Broncos defense proves that they are elite. Bo Nix able to do what he needs to do against the really good defense with Philly. Philly needs to open it up. They tried to open it up last week, but they picked the worst week to try to open it up against Patrick Surtain and one of the best passing defenses in the league. So that was a big upset. Good for Sean Payton. The Jets are a train wreck. I don't know what they need to do. It really feels like they've had a couple wins this year, and they are 0-5. That's wild. Cowboys offense still looks good without CeeDee Lamb, so I'm scared to see what they're going to look like with CeeDee Lamb. It's going to be interesting because Pickens is looking like Pickens is going to earn himself a massive contract next year with whatever team wants to pay him as a number one. Yeah, I don't know what the Jets need to do. And then, we had the Vikings and the Browns, Dylan Gabriel's NFL debut, which was very fun on Sunday morning. Not a lot of offense going between the two teams, but the Vikings pull that one out. And we already talked. I think we talked a little bit. We talked Thursday night because we recorded Thursday night about the Rams and the Niners. That was a hell of an overtime game. I cannot believe the Rams ended up losing that. But San Francisco, Mac Jones pulling out Mac Jones, I think 3 times during that game looked like he had a season-ending injury and then just walked to the sideline and continued playing the game. He's an absolute dog. We've had a lot of good football this year. Even with all these injuries, I think a lot of the people who have come in to replace those injuries have stepped up and played some really good football. And I'm really excited to look forward into week 6. Chad, do you have anything that you want to comment on week 5?
No, again, I think Packers needed a little bit of a rebuilding week, which is good for them, getting guys healthy. Like I said, too, a bummer coming out of that game, losing by 3. But the exciting thing about the NFL is just the high-scoring, high-intensity games. There's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch the NFL right now. Even the Thursday night games have been cooking. The games overseas have been cooking. Those early 8:30 games have been great. Store's a little slow in the morning. I got the TVs going, so being able to, and take that in. But fun week 5. Absolutely fun. Sucks to not come out with a W for the Hawks, but c'est la vie.
We will come back to the Hawks in just 1 second, but I do want to touch on these Packers. Coming out of the bye, we got a whole extra week to plan for Jamar Chase and for T. Higgins. I believe that is what the defense was focusing on. I don't think that the defense was ever going, okay, this is what we need to do against Chase or Jake Browning. I don't think that was ever a thing. I think this Joe Flacco trade is actually a good thing for the Packers going into this game because Joe's coming in not knowing the offense. Sure, he's a veteran and he probably knows most offenses in the league, so it's probably going to be easy for him to pick up. I'm not saying that he's not going to know what he's doing out there, but we've already scouted him this year. We've already played against him. This is a very easy plug and play for the defense and for the defensive coordinator to say, we were already scouting the wide receivers and the running back. Now we can just plug in a quarterback that we've already faced this year to that scouting report. So I think this is a good thing for the Packers defense. Fully rested. I'm very excited to see what we can do. Are we at home? I thought we were in Cincinnati.
So
we are at home. That's crazy.
Home is great, and I know you have a lot of great opinions here. But I'll play devil's advocate and say that
Please.
If a Joe Flacco could beat you with the Browns, I think adding two wildly impressive or wildly more impressive talents in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I don't want to say anybody, but anybody with a proven track record of success who can throw the ball, and you give them one of the better, if not the best duo at 1 and 2 for wide receiver. I think this game is going to be a lot more trouble than Packer fans think it is.
All right, Chad. I know you were just talking shit about your waiver wire pickups and you waited for Ibuka and all this. I'm very proud of your fantasy football prowess. Can you really look me in the eyes and look at that week 3 game and tell me that Joe Flacco beat the Packers that week?
No.
Yes, his team got the win. Joe Flacco went 21 of 36. He had 142 yards, no passing touchdowns, an interception, and 2 sacks. He did not beat us. Their defense beat us, and we beat us because we did not put our foot on the pedal. We were up 10-0 in the fourth quarter, but did not. Tell me if you've heard this one before. We were playing not to lose, like fucking Matt LaFleur likes to do. I don't know. This Bengals defense is awful. We've seen them give up 35-plus points in 4 out of 5 weeks already this year. I don't think Flacco can, even if Flacco puts up more than 13 than he did against us because he's got better weapons, there's no way this Bengals defense can hold us to less than 30.
So with a poor defense, kind of with the Cowboys, where you guys go for 40, I don't know, man. The Packers have proven time and time again out of bye weeks, coming out of preseason, game 1, they come out slow, they come out rusty. That's the way they always have. Now, if they can somehow come out and the defense does what they're supposed to do and hold it tight at first quarter, that first third of the game, I think they blow the doors off in the second half. But like we've seen many times in the past, I think it'll be a very slow start for Green Bay. But again, they've been proven in the past, slow start, explosive second half of the game. Like any Wisconsin team ever who drops it in the second half, the Packers have been proving that they are electric through the second half. But hopefully they don't give up too much at the start. T. Higgins is hungry. Jamar Chase is hungry. They want to win. They want to put up numbers they haven't been putting up this year. I think Flacco, while I thought Jameis Winston or Russ might have been a better fit to just chuck the ball up, Flacco might be their guy. Apparently, Cincinnati thought that he is the guy to bridge the gap without Browning before Burrow comes back. Hopefully just stop the hemorrhaging at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be a big week for the Packers because this is going to say a lot about our coaching staff if they are able to fix what we saw in weeks 3 and 4 versus what we saw in weeks 1 and 2. We need that 1 and 2 week Packers to come out because, yeah, it's just that this coaching staff needs to get on the players and say, hey, that's not the team we are. We're 1 and 2. But let's go back to your team for a second. Because if for some reason anyone in this group doesn't know, my secondary team, and yes, it's fine to have a secondary team, whatever. I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Have
Well,
been since.
not according to Drews. You live and die by the one team that you like. I have been crucified and castrated plenty of times over that.
That's
I've
fine.
never
He can
won.
have that. He can have that opinion during the Packers bye week this week. I got to enjoy a Monday Night Football game against the Chiefs where my Jaguars got the win, and I had a great time. You and your Seahawks get to come to Jacksonville, cross the coast. Hold on. Is that the farthest travel for a road game in the
That's
NFL?
easy.
Like
Well,
at all?
It's our farthest travel for the whole year because we're not overseas at all this year.
I'm trying to think if that like just in within the states, home versus away, no international games. That's got to be the farthest traveled game at all. Like
Short of if, unless like the Rams or the Raiders play the Bills in Buffalo,
I
but
guess, but still like Jacksonville and what I don't know. Anyway, you guys got to travel down to us in the heat. I want your genuine thoughts on this game because both of these teams have exceeded preseason expectations like greatly. No one thought Sam Darnold was going to be doing what he was doing without Justin Jefferson and Kevin O'Connell. And Jackson Smith and Jigba has stepped up into his role. Both your running backs have been doing well. Your offensive line is holding up better and your defense is playing really well. On the other side, Trevor Lawrence is playing okay. It's still not doing what we want him to do, but Trevor, that's his brother. Travis Etienne has been playing much better than he did last year. And the defense has been a lot. Some people have been saying elite. I still wouldn't call them elite. I still think their defense has some work to do, but I think their defense has been playing very well this year, too. So I think this is going to be a very good noon matchup.
I think it's going to be a great game. It'll be fun no matter what. It's funny because the headlines at the beginning of the season would have toted out Travis Hunter as like the name for the game. And while he can still be effective in some small doses, is not the name for that team. I think Trevor Lawrence is still the guy. One thing I heard in some sports talk, and I want to put this out there gently because I know I'll be lambasted for it. The way that sportscasters and analysis used to talk about Josh Allen was that he was super talented but wildly inconsistent. And he was that way for a very long time. And I think more and more we're seeing that with Trevor Lawrence, where he is an elite talent, but his inconsistencies are continuing to plague him. Who knows if this is the year, 2 years from now, we can wait and see. But I think that's his biggest struggle is his consistency right now. If he can figure that out, I think he can be a very talented quarterback for that Jacksonville team, which they've needed for a long time, like going back for however long. And Tien finally looking like the guy people thought he was. They don't have a legitimate number one at wide receiver, which I think really, really hurts them. But like you said, I would argue that defenses, especially secondaries, Jacksonville and Seattle, both look very, very strong. Woolen has been figuring out the shit he was dealing with the first couple of games, but he looked really good last week. Witherspoon continues to look like an elite guy, top 5 at his position. So it'll be a battle. I think, again, I think you might see shot for shot. I think Trevor Lawrence might open the doors. But like I talked about after week 1, where Darnold didn't have the best game, he didn't look great, it took him a little while to get the traction in Minnesota. And now it seems like he has that traction now in Seattle. He's loving the team. He's loving the atmosphere. The fact that we have all these young guys just getting hot. Kenneth Walker, we thought Kenny was going to be the guy, and Charbonnet is sharing a lot of those carries. Really weird for fantasy, but at the same time, to have that 1-2 punch is really awesome. I think it's going to be a really great game.
I think the defining factor is going to be Seattle's big play ability versus Jacksonville's ability to shut that down. Because just looking at the stats, Sam Darnold has almost 200 yards more on the season than Trevor Lawrence, but like it's like 4 completions less. Like, and that's as a guy who watches football every weekend, I can tell you that Seattle has way more big plays than Jacksonville. Jacksonville's had like 2 big runs from Trevor Etienne and like 1 or 2 big pass plays from Trevor Lawrence. Whereas I see Seattle going downfield and Ken Walker's breaking plays all the time. I think if Seattle can break a few big plays and score on those, you guys will have that advantage. If Jacksonville can limit that, that's going to be the key. But
Yeah.
looking past that, the Thursday night matchup, I think is going to be a good matchup. I think the Eagles will dominate the game, but I'm very intrigued to see how Jackson Dart can perform against this defense after losing to New Orleans last week. And then we have another London game. Not one more. I think there's plenty more. The Broncos and Bo Nix are going to face the New York Jets and Justin Fields. That'll be an interesting matchup. I think Justin Fields is going to struggle against that defense. Both of those matchups, by the way, are 7.5 to the Broncos and the Eagles. So heavy favorites.
Yeah, so there's a lot of games out there this week that I think are going to be great matchups. The one, taking it that London game, I think Bo Nix is going to absolutely shred New York. But looking at a lot of the other games we have, Chargers and Dolphins, after what the Dolphins did last week, we'll see what they can do. One that I think is going to be great. I think the Colts are absolutely going to blow Arizona to pieces, which will be great. But one, I think the 2 games that I'm most excited for the upcoming week is Niners and Buccaneers, both 4-1. Phenomenal teams playing super, super well. That'll be a great game at 3:25. And then the Sunday night game is the 4-1 Lions against the 2-3 Chiefs. I don't care if they played bad last week, if they played bad 6 months ago, if they're 2-3, if they're 0-4, whatever they want to be. The Chiefs are always in it. The team that they have with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, the pieces they continue to put together, they're always in it. So that's going to be a super, super, super fun game to watch after what the Chiefs did last week. And then at home, too. Exciting outlook for a lot of games this week.
I have a couple ones that I want to mention real quick. Monday night, Bears at Commanders. I really think that it's a rematch of the Hail Mary game from last year, and that really sent Chicago into a spiral. Chicago's going to come out firing, but I do still expect the Commanders to win that one. Falcons coming off the bye against Josh Allen. I think that'll be interesting because the Falcons defense has played well other than that one game against Carolina. I think that defense might come up with a plan against Josh Allen. I don't know if it'll be a close game, but I'm willing to bet it's going to be closer than people think. It's only a 4.5-point line. And then we have a couple bottom of the barrel games, which I think will be fun for fantasy. Raiders, Titans. I think there could be a lot of fun. Like, I think there's a lot of Raiders in fantasy that are fantasy relevant with the team being bad. And same with the Titans. A lot of people have some hope for those players. So I think that's going to be a fun matchup at the 3:05. Patriots, Saints. Patriots will probably still come out with that win, but look for the Saints to get on a roll because I don't know. I really think that Kellen Moore could have potentially found something to Spencer Rattler. Not saying that they're going to be world beaters and go on to win a division or anything, but look for them to win a couple more games this year. And I would say the Patriots might be a trap game there.
So the only thing more exciting than looking forward to the week in the NFL is looking forward to the week in fantasy. So I just want to give this right out of the gate. Okay, I'm going to read 2 things to you, and you tell me what team is going to win, right? No names, no information. Team 1 went nuclear this week on the scoreboard and in the group chat after this team imploded. He's talking about drowning rats, microwaving comebacks like Gordon Ramsay with Wi-Fi. Still, numbers don't lie. 720 points for a league high and a 40-point cushion on the field. The problem? He's burning bridges faster than defenses. Stock is cooking, cursing, and combusting. Facing off against this individual dropped 115 and got clobbered. At least you stayed out of the group chat crossfire. Self-preservation points matter. Stock witness protection program. Speaks for itself, right?
Speaks for itself.
Even sitting here on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, whatever night it is, 73% to the 27% for show them TDs. The commissioner is going to show you what's up. Going through a couple other things this week. Sliding up to number 2 is the Rat. He's living rent-free in the commissioner's head. Utilities included. Every message Chad was basically a lease renewal. At another 147-point win, the Rats are officially co-heading the league soap opera as the Chef Burns. Number 3, up 2 spots. Another week, another W. Angry does not talk much chat or show up ever, but he drops 150 and leaves. All while Chad and Baby Rye are busy writing a screenplay. He's quietly building a resume. Down a couple, KO at 4. KO's team lost, but at least he stayed out of the domestic drama. Respectable 143 points. Jay Jettas destroyed Stumby, again posting almost 150 points like it was light work. The only thing higher than this score was Chad's blood pressure after the Seahawks game. Kai Rimjob, down 2, could have been down more, in my opinion. Travis keeps slipping after selling his future for a win-now window that's now boarded up. 116 points. Meh. Somewhere Marvin Harrison Jr. just rolled his eyes. Oh, here we are. Up 1, Teal the Love from 9 to 8. 2 straight decent weeks. Teal's comeback is like a rom-com montage. Adorable but doomed. 126 points means the heart monitor beeped again. Down 1, Kraft, yuck, and Cheese. 128 points and another L. Kraft season is like reheated mac and cheese. Soft, sad, and clumpy. And number 10, no change. Put up 109, still got stomped by 40. At least Stumpy didn't argue in the chat. You can't lose an argument if you're already tanking. The rebuild continues. Stock, aged poorly, pairs well with pain.
I tell you, it's a good thing we had Stumpy on week 1 so he could talk his shit.
Yeah, and then it won't go well after that. So again, I'm looking to absolutely hammer Ian the Red Panda into the ground. An interesting matchup this week will be Stumby at 0-5 versus Teal the Love at 2-3. Love you, buddy, but man, you've been squeaking by. Those 2 wins that you had were on a little wing and a prayer. So going into that game, projections of 113 and 111. That's going to be about the tightest window that Stumby's seen since the season started. He might be able to pick his first win. I would hate to be the guy that gave Vintage Stumpy Reserve the first W of the season. KO's keepers at 3-2, facing off at Jetta and the Hedgehogs. Not sure if I understand that name. Still have never understood it.
Would you like me to explain, or do you want to live in ignorance?
No, I can. Yeah, sure. You can give it to me.
So Jettas is obviously Jay Jettas.
Yep.
Obviously, Justin Jefferson. The Hedgehogs referring to Sonic and Knuckles, which are the nickname for Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery, who he has both of on their team.
Oh, all right. I'll give him up. That's pretty creative. Good for him.
I agree.
But projected right now to lose 122 to 108, and I believe that will be the way the game goes.
He's got bye weeks. He doesn't have Justin Jefferson. He doesn't have Nico. He literally has to start Wan'Dale Robinson and Hollywood Brown as his only 2 wide receivers in his lineup. I still don't have Pearsall Evans and Lamar Jackson. So it's going to be a battle. If we would have been facing up last week, he would have beat me. So it's going to be a battle. I'm lucky enough to be facing him on his major bye week here. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I'm more than happy to loan anybody some players if the price is right. So if anybody needs any help, you, Jay Jettas, and the Cheetahs or whatever they are, happy to help. Angry Black Man and Festival Has Rats. High projection for Festival Has Rats, but the 2 4-1 teams going head to head, I think will be great. At least great cannon fodder in the group chat from one person, because Elvon will never show up to chat in the group chat besides on his lunch break at 3 a.m. when no one else is awake. And 2 shitbirds sitting there at 2-3 and 1-4. Kraft shit and cheese and the Kai butthole job are gonna face off, and we'll see the slop fest that will be. So we got a lot of things going on. 3 teams at 4-1, 2 teams at 3-2, 3 teams at 2-3, a 1-4 and an 0-5. But I don't want anybody to pretend that 2-3 down to 1-4 isn't the exact same batch, short of Stumby at 0-5 all by himself. This is probably one of the most competitive seasons we've had so far, with ups and downs. This go around of the 5 years. And of course, I'm sitting here more excited than anybody because things are finally lining up.
Yeah, I mean, like I was in the playoffs 2 years ago. Life's just more exciting when your team's winning, and especially in this kind of league, we are extremely competitive human beings. I'm in two leagues like this, and it's just there's nothing better on a week to week basis. You end up cheering against players that you like, teams that you like, or like if you have another player in another league or something like that, like you throw everything out the window for this one matchup. And I think there's nothing better. We have created such a good culture within this league, and it's a little bit for money, but I don't even really think about that. Like Drew's even just giving it back to the boys for the party. It's really for the trophy. It's to put your name on it, and it's for bragging rights to be able to call yourself the champ. So that's what I'm here for. And like you said, it is one of the more competitive years that I've seen, at least. Maybe it's been more competitive in one of the years that I've been bad, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of good teams at the top, and even like you said, some of those 2 and 3 teams. I don't know. I've heard some stories about like a 1-4, 0-5 team coming back making the playoffs, like in other just in tail. You never know what can happen, and some of those teams look like they could maybe make some moves, and I don't know. It's exciting. I love it. Thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you next week, hopefully with a guest. And we're trying to lock down. But yes, thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you next week.